Hello and welcome viewers to this special episode of NewsDrum Live. PM Modi just concluded his official visit to France. He was the guest of honor for the Bastille Day parade, video of which is playing in my background. PM Modi had bilateral meetings with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron, and then he met the Indian and French business communities. To talk about how important is this visit from French perspective, we have Come Bastin, who is a French journalist based in India. Hello, Com. I just wanted to ask you, how do you see this visit?
Well, it is quite important, Niraj. First, because the two countries share democratic and equality value. As you know, maybe part of the French mojo, which is liberty, equality, fraternity, is also in the Indian constitution preamble. But beyond that, I mean, this relation dates back to, you have to go back to the General de Gaulle, which was the president of France after the Second World War, and Nehru's policies of non-alignment. I think from a long time, both countries are sharing the idea of a multipolar world and sovereignty of nation. And through history, you can see that at many occasions, France has leaned towards India's side during the India-Pakistan war in 1971, when US imposed sanctions. France has also refrained from condemning India after its nuclear test in 1988, when India declared itself a nuclear weapon state. And it's the same year that was signed a strategic partnership between the two countries, which cover a lot of area from defense to energy, education, and of course also security. This partnership was signed in 98. It is now coming to an end because it was signed for 25 years. So it's coming to an end today in 2023. And Emmanuel Macron and Narendra Modi are also meeting to renew this partnership for another 25 years, and of course, expand its scope. Because on the French side, let's be clear, India today is a rising power. It's a huge market in terms of military equipment and in the energy sector. The French industry has been quite ravaged, I would say, by the Chinese competition. So today, energy, transport, and weapons are the main assets of France to export. So, of course, India is a huge market in that perspective. As you know, the signature of another deal of, I think, 26 Rafale and 3 Scorpion submarine today is a good news on the French side for that. But there's still a long way to go. You know, I think the friendship between the two countries and the two leaders is obvious, but let's be realistic. Today, France is a mini player in India in terms of investment and market compared to US or even compared to another country, Europe country like Germany. So yeah, the friendship is there, but there is still a huge margin on progress, including on the Indian side, because we see much more students, much more success story, business story of Indian abroad in the former Commonwealth, in countries like US, UK, Australia, than in France. Of course, language is part of the explanation because English is spoken both in India and in those countries, but it's not only that. And I think that Narendra Modi and Emmanuel Macron also have negotiated now that Indian students will be able to benefit from a work visa if they study in France, 4-year work visa to help them start their professional life in France. I think that also shows that, yeah, both France want to invest more in India and France also want to attract more Indian students and more Indian startup businessmen, etc. Third point, which is very, very important, I think France feels that following the war in Ukraine, India is very keen to diversify its military supply from the Russia, which is still the largest supplier in India. I think on the French side, everybody understands that India can't break its relation with Russia suddenly, both because of weapon and petrol dependency. But no doubt that Macron will also talk with Modi tonight about Ukraine and try to push him to take harder stands against Vladimir Putin. So, yeah, I think it's important to understand this invitation in this long context of French-Indian relation and in the huge margin that can still be reached from both sides, even if the friendship for the two countries is very ancient.
Is there any roadmap which you might be knowing that how this partnership will strengthen if compared with the last 25 years?
Well, the world has changed quite a lot since 1998. So the initial partnership was mainly, I think, in defense, but since 10 years, new challenges have come. Of course, we are speaking about the security in the Indo-Pacific. I think France is one of the only countries which has conducted joint military exercise in terms of Navy in the Indo-Pacific region. The threat, I mean, which can be seen as a threat of China is also new. I have spoken with diplomats on the French side, and one of the big projects that France would like to implement in India for those 25 next year is the Jaitapur nuclear plant. Maybe you heard of it. It will be one of the biggest, I think the biggest nuclear plant in the world. It is located close to Mumbai. It would be a huge contract for the French nuclear industry, but there is still a lot of, it's been in discussion since years, but there is still a lot of questions to solve. How will this energy integrate into the Indian energy grid, etc.? But that's something very important. Again, something new compared to 25 years ago is knowledge economies, student exchange program, etc., which we've seen with this work visa is also developing. And I think, that's it. That energy and Indo-Pacific security, knowledge and studies will be the three main dimensions where the two countries are reaching to extend their cooperation.
How is France going to gain from the partnership?
Well, there has been, as I said, today, French industry has been, kind of brought down. We have lost a lot, including in production of drugs, production of textiles, etc. So even those military contracts that were just confirmed by the Indian side are very important. It represents a lot because the Rafales are manufactured in India. Even if there is a lot of discussion, as you may know, about the transfer of technology, the indigenization, if I'm not wrong, of technology, which means that when India buys a submarine or Rafale, it also buys the fact that part of it, at least, will be manufactured in India, and India wants to learn to soon become autonomous. But still, those contracts represent a lot of jobs for a very important and expert industries in France. So that is very important. I also talked about the discussion going on around that huge nuclear plants. I'm sure there are other industrial discussion going on, but this will be the main sector that French will be gaining.
Now, when PM Modi was about to land in Paris, European Union Parliament passed a resolution on Manipur violence.
Yes.
India retaliated sharply to this.
Yes.
But again, had India spoken on France rights, like recent France rights, it would have been, France wouldn't have taken it sportingly.
Well, I think, between friends, it's also important to be able to tell each other non-interference. I think we share this value, but at the same time, where do you put the limit of non-interference? I mean, me, when I'm a journalist and I'm report about something on India, you could say, okay, it's a French interference in India. So I think first it didn't came from France, because obviously France doesn't have interest. No, you can't stop the European Parliament of taking position on different international issues. Of course, it is an internal matter, but it didn't came from France. And then I don't agree with you when you say, would India have commented on the riots? Niraj, I am living in India, and I'm seeing how the media coverage has been. We've seen a lot of media covering the France riots, giving explanation that are sometimes, that maybe France wouldn't agree with, which were very focused on Muslim, etc. And I don't think that France has complained about India commenting the French riots. I mean, I've seen even the official account of Mr. Yogi Adityanath saying that if Yogi Adityanath was elected in France, then this wouldn't have happened because he is a guy of law and order, and I don't think that France has complained. So, I think that, non-interference would be to take a resolution, to take an action, like, I don't know, a sanction against India. Now, admitting an opinion on a personal, on a specific problem in a country, be it in democracy, in terms of violence, etc., I think, that will continue to happen. I understand this can shock. I'm sure that even on the French side, we were not really happy with the timing, but I don't think we should make it a big affair.
Right. When you talked about Indian media writing about French riots, this is not about, when I said India commenting on French riots, it's like Indian government commenting on French
riots. Which I'm totally okay with, I'm just saying, I'm totally okay with Indian media commenting French riots. And me as a French media, I also comment on India. I think it's healthy.
As a French national, do you think that the timing was wrong?
Well, obviously, let's be frank, the timing was not an accident. The European Parliament deliberately pushed that resolution at the time when Mr. Modi was there, because, the media attention around India was here. So, yeah, you can say it's a bad timing, but at the same time, from their perspective, it was a good timing to speak about that.
How would have, Mr. Macron taken this EU's resolution?
I don't think that Mr. Macron would comment on that Manipur. I mean, it's obviously, as you say, an internal matter. It is a very complex, even me as a journalist, I know it because I'm trying to understand what's going on here. It's a very complex situation where you cannot say that or that actor is bad. It's a very complex relation. And it's not at all a good timing for Macron to take any stand like that. Obviously, because as I said, for realpolitik reason, first, India is a huge market. We are also celebrating a long friendship. So I don't see Macron endorsing this kind of resolution at all.
So do you see France and European Union behaving differently?
Yes, obviously. France, I think the difference, it's important to remember that European Union is not a state. European Union is an union. So France is a state. It has more direct bilateral relation with country, like we can see. For example, there is no invitation from the European Union of Mr. Modi or any world leader. That can only happen between two countries, like France and India. And of course, between two countries like that, you cannot afford to take very precise stand on that or that affair in India. That's something that I think we haven't done. But the European Union has a long history of taking stands on different events happening in the world. it's not something which is specifically targeted as India. It has taken stand against the repression in China. It has taken stand for I don't know, for Taiwan. It has taken stand against the war in Sudan. It is taking stand on human rights and violence issues very, very frequently, which is why I said that I understand the timing you say, but first it's important to differentiate France and the European Union. And second, it is important to understand that the European Parliament is a debate parliament where a lot of things are discussed. And it happens very often that the European Parliament votes this or this resolution saying, okay, we are worried about this situation. In that case, it was Manipur. But every day, the European Parliament is passing ordinance or resolution against different situation in the world, which it judged being worrying. So it's, so let's put things into perspective and don't make it a crisis.
No worries. I'm just saying that you just said that the situation in Manipur is far more complex than what it looks on the ground from outside.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but
exactly in that situation, was it good for European Union to comment on this matter?
It might not have been the best example. I mean, even if we agree that, okay, European Union might take an opinion on this or this happening in India, I think that Manipur is a very complex matter, and maybe, maybe of course the violence are worrying. I think everyone, including in India, is worried, but yeah, saying that it is because of Modi or something like that is a very black and white, and I think maybe they should have refrained.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kom, for taking out this, your precious time and making us understand the importance of this 2-day visit from French perspective, explaining what is the difference between EU and France, bilateral relationship and other things. Thank you so much.
The pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Niraj.